Welcome to the Portable Classroom Maximize Your Potential program. This is a practice video for your student book Side by Side 4, page 116 to page 117. In this video, we're going to talk about how to put embedded questions into direct and indirect speeches. So without further ado, let's begin. First, we have to talk about what embedded questions are. Let's look at a regular question. A regular question will look like this. This is a WH question, starts with where. Where is John? That's a regular question. In a regular question, we put the verb before the subject. Now, here is another regular question. Will he come with us? Again, this is a yes-no question, so normally a yes-no question is a question that starts with a helping verb or a be verb. In this case, a helping verb, and the helping verb is will. Will he come with us? Again, helping verb before a subject. That's how we form regular questions, making sure that verbs are before subjects. As for an embedded question, is when we put a regular question into a sentence, and now the regular question is nothing more but a noun clause. So look, do you know, this is the main sentence over here, and the regular question over here is where John is. We put the question with another part of the sentence. This is the main part of the sentence, and this is the noun clause, and where is serving as the beginning word of the noun clause. The thing I need to know, the thing I need to pay attention to is when I put a regular question into an embedded question like this, I have to change the order of words. I have to make sure that a subject is before a verb, like a normal sentence. So that's the key to forming embedded questions. Okay, so when you put where is John into an embedded question, make sure that it's where John is. Subject is before a verb. Okay, so do you know where John is? Now, as for the ending question mark, is decided by the main part of the sentence. The main part of the sentence is a yes/no question, like do you know? So this is a question mark. If over here it says you know where John is, it's no longer a question mark. It should be a period. So the final punctuation, question mark or a period, is decided by the main part of the sentence. Now let's take a look at the other one. This is a yes/no question, start with the helping verb will. Now, the tricky part is we do not have WH words serving as the bridging word between two parts of the sentence. So we have to find other words that can help us do that. And the two words that we use when it comes to like yes/no questions over here are if and whether. You can choose either one of them, okay? As long as it is a yes/no question like this one over here, you use if or whether, these two words, as the bridging word, as bridging words in between the two parts of the sentence. So, do you know if, again, we have to make sure that the subject is before a verb, like a normal sentence. So, if he will, see, will he becomes he will come with us or not. This part is up to you. You can choose to write them down or just neglect them. Now, over here, do you know whether he will come with us or not? These two words in these two sentences, the functionality of these two words are exactly the same. So you can choose either one of them to use. So that's basically what embedded questions are. For more information about embedded questions, please go to the main website, the Portable Classroom. www.theportableclassroom.blogspot.tw, and look for the Max program, and you will find a grammar learning map, and you will find the section that titled embedded questions, and you will get more information on this particular grammar point. As for now, we're not going to go into the details. Now we're going to talk about how to put embedded questions into direct and indirect speeches. Now let's take a look at the example over here. Now over here, John said to May, will you marry me? This is a direct speech. John said to May, you see the comma and quotation marks. So this is a direct speech sentence. Now this over here is a regular question. Now, our job is to make this sentence, turn it into an indirect speech sentence. Okay, so that's go on. You won't believe what John said to me today. What did he say? Okay, so this part is the part where we transform the direct speech sentence with the question into an indirect speech sentence with the question. So he being John, he said to me. This part is the same. Now, this is a yes-no question. Remember what we said about yes-no questions? We need a word to bridge these two parts of the sentence, and the word is usually if or whether. Now, I choose to go with if. So, he said to me, if she would marry him. Again, in an embedded question, you have to make sure that a subject is before a verb. So, subject before a helping verb, would. But why would? Why not will? Because in the regular sentence, in the regular question, the helping verb is actually will. Because changing a sentence from its direct speech form to its indirect speech form, we have to go back in time. And the past tense of will, this is future tense, and the past tense of will is would. So that's why we have to say, he said to me if she would marry him. So there are two things that we have to pay attention to. First, with make sure the order of words when we rewrite a sentence from its direct speech form like this into an indirect speech form, we have to make sure that the subject is before a verb. That's the first thing we have to know. And the second thing is we need to change the tense of the sentence, go back in time. So here, will you marry me turns into she would marry him. Of course, the persons are different, okay? So these are the two things that you have to pay attention to. Let's move on to the next example. Next example, the direct speech sentence is, a 3-year-old boy asked me, why is there Santa Claus in every department store in town? So this is a regular question over here, and it's not a yes no question, it's a WH question. As you can see, the WH word over here, so we do not need the help of either if or whether. So let's move on. You won't believe what a 3-year-old boy asked me today. What did he say to you? He asked me why there was a Santa Claus in every department store in town. So this is the indirect speech sentence over here. Now, he, meaning the person, he asked me he meaning the 3-year-old boy, asked me, okay, this part is the embedded question part, and also a part of an indirect speech. So a few things that we have to notice, pay attention to. First, subject before a verb. So subject in this sentence is the word there, okay? There was, see, subject before a verb, so check is correct. Secondly, remember, we have to go back in time. The original question is written with the be verb is, and it's simple present tense. But when I turn the sentence from its direct speech form to an indirect speech form, I have to also change the tense of the sentence. And so therefore, I turn the verb is into its past tense, was. So these are the two things you need to pay attention to. So the answer is, he asked me why there was a Santa Claus in every department store in town. All right. So we're going to move downwards and talk about more examples. We are only going to focus on the exchange in between the direct speech sentence to the indirect speech sentence. So remember to have your books beside you, and then we're going to do this and you're going to practice by yourself. So let's move on. So let's take a look at picture number 1. Picture number 1 is the picture on page 117. It is the picture where there is a history teacher talking to a student in the class, and this is what the history teacher actually said to the student: who is your barber? Okay, that's a regular question, and this is a direct speech sentence. Now our job is to transform this direct speech sentence with the regular question into an indirect speech sentence with an embedded question. So he asked me, he meaning the history teacher, meaning the man in this sentence, he asked me that. Two things we have to pay attention to. First, the order of words, subject before a verb, and then secondly, we have to go back in time. So who, okay, Now, the subject of the sentence is over here. Your barber, that's the subject. So, who your barber. Now, it's not is. We have to go back in time, remember? Present simple tense into past tense. So, who your barber was. Okay? And then a period. Why period? Because look at this part of the sentence. This is not a question. Okay? So, he asked me that who your barber was. That's the answer for picture number 1. Take a look at picture number 2. Picture number 2 is the picture where there is a man talking to a lady in the restaurant. Okay. Now the direct speech sentence is the man asks his girlfriend, do you want to get married? So this is a regular question over here. A regular question. Okay. Now we have to turn it into an embedded question. So he asked me meaning the girlfriend. She's speaking from her perspective. I try to get this as similar to the sentences on your book as possible. So he asked me. Now look, this is a yes no question, so we need the magic word. You can choose to use if or whether. Now let's use if. So if he asked me if. Now again, make sure that the subject is before a verb. Now the subject in the sentence is you. Now we do not use do in the positive sentence written in the present simple tense. So there's no need for do. So if you want to get married. Okay, so this is the answer for picture number 2. He asked me meaning the girlfriend, if you want to get married. Okay, something wrong with this. We have to also make sure one thing. Remember, this is present simple tense, and then we have to go back in time. So it's not if you want to, it's if you wanted to get married. Past tense. Okay, so that's the answer for number 2. He asked me if you wanted to get married. Now let's move on to picture number 3. All right, let's take a look at picture number 3. Picture number 3 is the picture where there is a father washing his car and the son is talking to the father. Picture number 3, the direct speech sentence is the boy asks his uncle. Okay, so it's not a father, it's uncle. The boy asks his uncle, when will you teach me how to drive? Okay, so this is a WH question starting with when. When will you teach me how to drive? Okay, now we have to change this regular question into an embedded question. This is what we're gonna do. He asked me that, again, when. Now make sure a subject is before a verb. This is a subject. When you. Now remember, will after this, but this is an indirect speech sentence, so we'll have to go back in time. The past tense of will is would. So it's when you would teach me how to drive. Okay, so that's the sentence. He asked me when you would teach me how to drive. All right. Now, picture number 4. Picture number 4 is also on page 117. It is the picture where there's a supervisor talking to another man. So the woman at the job interview asked the man. So they're at a job interview. The woman asked the man, have you ever been arrested? So this is a yes/no question, starting with have, present perfect tense. Now we have to change this regular question into an embedded question. So she asked me meaning the man at the interview. So she asked me, now yes no question, so we have to choose either to use if or whether. Let's go with if. So she asked me if, okay, no, it's no longer you because I am being asked. So I. Now present perfect tense, make sure that a subject is before. Over here, a subject is before a verb. Yes, checked. But also make sure to change the verb. So if I, the past tense of have, it's had. So present perfect tense into past perfect tense. If I had, okay, ever been arrested. So that's it. she asked me if I had ever been arrested. So that's the answer for picture number 4. Let's move on to picture number 5. Let's talk about picture number 5 and 6, the last 2 pictures on page 117. Picture number 5 is the picture where there's a teacher in the classroom. There are 3 students talking to her, and the student asks the teacher, can we have English class at the beach tomorrow? So this is a yes/no question starting with the word can. All right, and the teacher, one more time. 1, 2, 3, action. Now let's take a look at picture number 5 and number 6, the last 2 pictures on page 117. Picture number 5 is the picture where there are 3 students in the classroom and ask the teacher a question. And the question is, can we have English class at the beach tomorrow? This is a yes/no question starting with the helping verb can, or the modal verb can. Alright, so we have to transform this into an embedded question. So this is how we're gonna do it. They means the student asks me meaning the teacher. Okay, they ask me. Now remember, yes no question, we have to use either if or whether. Let's go with if. Okay, make sure that the subject is before a verb. Okay, so if we over here meaning the student, so this is the teacher talking. So if they meaning the student, all right. Can, the past tense of can is could. So if they could have English class at the beach tomorrow. Okay, so that's the answer. They asked me if they could have English class at the beach tomorrow. 2 things needs to be changed: the older words being first, and also the tense of the sentence. Present tense, past tense. All right, let's move on to the final picture, which is picture 6. Picture 6 is the picture where there are 2 parents, like parents, father and mother, talking to the daughter. So the parents ask the daughter, when are you going to break up with your boyfriend? Okay, so this is a WH question starting with the word when. Now we need to put this question into an embedded question. So they ask me meaning the daughter. They ask me, now again, when. All right, it's not you anymore because the daughter is talking about it. So when I. Okay, now this, be careful with this. This is future tense, be going to, using are. I have to change the tense of the sentence. So when I, past tense of are is was. I was going to break up. Now with, be careful, it's my boyfriend. Okay, so this is the answer. When I was going to break up with my boyfriend. 2 things, all the words being one, make sure the subject is before a verb, and then also go back in time. So future tense with be going to. The be verb is are, past tense of are, that goes with I is was. So that's the answer. So thank you for watching this video. Now for more information, please visit www.theportableclassroom.blogspot.tw. Again, thank you for your patience.